I'm just going to let y'all know right now what I'm about to do with these cards. You never saw coming. Hello, my loves. Welcome back to the channel. For those of you that don't know, my name is Leanne Aligned. I'm a tarot reader, psychic witch, divine channel, all kinds of things, spiritual leader, coach, mentor. The list goes on and on. But in the past couple of months, maybe the whole year, I've lost track at this point, but I've been working on this series where I've been going through my decks and curating them and seeing which ones in my library I'm ready to go ahead and pass on to new homes. And I've filmed a couple of installments. It's been quite a roller coaster ride. And here I am ready to kind of share the final piece of this. The series is going to take on a new form, and I'm really excited to bring that to you eventually. But this particular kind of sort and declutter series is over, and some really amazing things have come out of that. And I want to share those with you today. Before I get into that, I also want to acknowledge I had polled you a month and a half ago now, I think, and asked how you would like me to finish this series. Did you want me to just give you kind of the end result, or did you want more process? And an overwhelming amount of you, pretty much all of you, with the exception of a few, wanted more process videos. Now, I did film those process videos. I filmed 3, 4, 5, I even filmed one last week, process videos. I cannot explain what happened to those videos or why this is not something that can come to fruition because it's one of those great mysteries of the universe, right? It is no longer Mercury retrograde, so we can't even blame that. There were videos I edited the entire thing, wouldn't save. Filmed the entire thing, audio had weird buzzing like randomly throughout the video, enough so that I couldn't edit it out. Corrupt footage, all kinds of things, out of focus. One was completely out of focus. 2 hours just. So at this point, I have to listen to the spirits that be and understand that that's not the way that this process is meant to be shared. So what I'm going to share with you today is the final analogy that I have landed on that has helped me work with my decks. Some different categories that I found helpful when I was sorting. Some really tangible, just like ways that I've been thinking about this, that I've been working about through this, that I have been coming to conclusions with, so that you can walk away with that own information if it resonates for you and use it as you look at your own tarot collection or library or whatever you like to call it. In addition to that, I'm going to be sharing with you what I have decided to do with these decks that no longer resonate. Some of them are still up for sale on my website, and I'll be adding those final ones that kind of entered into that category within the next couple of weeks. So definitely kind of keep your eye on that. But I've come up with some really fun projects and ways that I can share these cards with you, which I will talk about at the end. And one of those includes a giveaway, which ends probably pretty soon after you're seeing this video, actually. So definitely, you don't want to miss that. So with all that being said, grab a beverage. This is probably going to be more of a talking video than a show and tell video until I talk about like the stuff we're doing at the end. So fold your laundry, clean your house, drive your car, whatever. Whatever. Please drive responsibly. Don't be looking at me. But listening, you knew what I meant. I'm drinking a smoothie. It looks gross, but it's really good. So, all that weirdness aside, how did I decide or make decisions about or come to conclusions that finally felt right about my deck library and decks that I have in my relationship with them and all those things we've been talking about, right? So I talked previously about the, what do you call that, analogy of tarot decks being like scratch tickets or lottery tickets, and how sometimes the potential of that deck has or hasn't been scratched, or et cetera, right? They're little tools that hold infinite potential, and we have to decide when we have essentially, quote unquote, claimed the prize and it's time to move that along. I'm not replacing that analogy because I think that that is super helpful, but I have come up with another one that creates much more clarity in the ability to make the decision. And that is that tarot deck libraries are just like coffee cup collections. And I'm going to explain what I mean by this. And if you aren't the type of person to have this coffee cup collection, this is not going to land with you. But I know that there's like more people out there like me who can definitely understand this. So what I mean by it's like a coffee cup collection. If you think of your coffee cups in a cupboard, whether you drink coffee or tea or however you use your cup, right? It's often a very eclectic mixed bag. Those of us who are creative, are mystical, are expressive, don't just go to the store and buy 8 coffee cups that look the same that come with a dinnerware set. We end up with all kinds of fun and cool mugs that we've bought, whether they're gifts or we pick them up at different times in our lives, or they're souvenirs, or like whatever they are, right? We end up with a very eclectic cupboard of coffee cups. And when our cupboard of coffee cups is full, we have to decide which cups are going to go and which cups get to stay. And oftentimes this is quite easy because we understand and have used these tools enough to be able to make educated decisions about it. So let's talk about the anatomy of a coffee cup collection and liken that to tarot decks and oracle decks. So let's go front to back. In the front, you most likely have coffee cups that, and I'm just pulling out a few from my own personal collection to illustrate these examples. But you likely have coffee cups in the front that you use often. You would classify them as your favorite mug. You heavily identify, for whatever reason, with whatever's on the mug, or it's special and significant in some way. It feels good in your hand. It holds your beverage in the way you like. It's probably microwave and dishwasher safe. It might have a certain volume that you really like. There's just something about everything about it that just fits. And like that is your coffee cup. And if that coffee cup was used by somebody else or broken, you would be devastated, right? You would replace it or try to replace it, like, even though it kind of feels irreplaceable, right? Those are like the prized mugs, the soul mugs. And there aren't usually many of them, right? There's only a few. And when we think about this in terms of tarot decks, right, we think about decks that just really, they hit all the boxes. They're like We love the imagery. We love the shuffle. We love the way it reads. We love how it feels in our hands. We've had really amazing readings with it. It could have other memories attached with it, right? They are our core, our most important, our most used, most valued decks. And one deck like that for me is my Haunted House Tarot, which you've seen me talk about forever. Okay, if you're driving, please don't look. I just told you I wouldn't show you anything and then I lied. But this is my deck equivalent of the coffee cup. That's like, I pull it out for rituals. She's my ride or die. I can always count on her. There's nothing about it that doesn't feel right, that doesn't feel like me. I would be devastated and immediately have to try and replace this if it ever got damaged or lost. I don't let anybody else use it. I don't use it for client readings. I very rarely will use it for like a general collective reading. Like, this is my baby. Right? So then, and I actually didn't bring over a coffee cup like this to show you, but I could probably use this, my mason jar. I don't put coffee in it, but I use mason jars for like general stuff, right? I love mason jars. They're super versatile. They're easy to use. They're easy to clean. Again, dishwasher safe. If someone comes over, I'm happy to let them use it. I'm probably going to give you water in a mason jar. That's how I am. I have certain ones that I like more than others, depending on the situation. If I'm drinking water or my smoothie, I'm drinking it out of this giant thing. If I want something like iced tea or kombucha, actually I drink my kombucha out of wine glasses, but that's a whole other thing. But if I'm going to have something like more potent and sweet and something that I want less of, I use like the smaller mason jars, you know? And you have a wide variety of them, right? These are the mugs, these are the cups, these are the vessels that like, you love them. They're super practical. They have different purposes and you're happy to share them with everyone. And if you lost it, you'd be sad, but you could find another replacement. Like, it wouldn't be devastating. I forgot to grab a deck for this too. So an example of a deck that I would choose for this is the Tarot of Vampires by Charles Harrington and Craig Maher. I never know if I'm saying that right. This deck I actually originally put in my to pass on pile, and I since took it out. And here's the thing. I had it in that pile because it wasn't one of my ride or dies, right? But I love this deck. I love doing readings for other people with this deck. There are just some times where like this deck is perfect, but it's like super versatile. It's RWS based. I can teach with it. I can read with it. I can read for myself. I can read for others. I would let people touch this deck. There's some fun things to explore, but it doesn't go too deep. It's just a super useful, beautifully shuffling, versatile deck that really just speaks to all kinds of different scenarios, and I would be happy to share with anybody. However, if this deck got lost, if I for some reason decided to gift it to somebody, if it got damaged, I would be sad, but I probably wouldn't buy it again. I would just buy something new to try something new. It's not irreplaceable, but it's not bad, right? I don't want to pass it on, but it's not the ride or die irreplaceable decks. Moving on, we have coffee cups, going back and forth. We have coffee cups that are fun, right? This is one example. It says my coffee's hotter than my husband. No, my husband's hotter than my coffee. Oh God. Sorry. He might watch this, so that'll hopefully be funny. And it has this chip in it, right? And I like it well enough. It holds a decent amount of coffee. It feels nice in my hand. It is a little on the big side. It has this chip, which I have to like annoyingly avoid. And it doesn't have any like spiritually huge, like empowering message. Like, I don't feel magical when I'm drinking out of this coffee cup, but it's fun. It's funny. It connects me to my husband in like a funny way, even though I bought the mug, but anyway. But it has some flaws, right? There are some flaws. And again, if this broke, I'd be sad. I'd be like, oh, remember that coffee cup? That was so funny. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. But I wouldn't like go buy another one of these. I would just buy another mug to like try something new. So kind of the same idea, but slightly different, right? Because these cups obviously have some flaws, right? We keep them because they have good pieces, but they have some glaring issues. And I've actually done such a good job at this point of curating my collection, like patting myself on my back, that I had to pull this deck out of the for sale bucket because I didn't have a deck in my current collection that I could put in this category. So this one, if you would like to adopt this one, it is up in the shop for adoption in my pre-loved section on the website. But the Squid Cake Tarot, this little deck is perfectly suited to this coffee cup because this deck is freaking adorable, right? It's like that funny saying on that coffee cup I just showed you. It's adorable, okay? There are aspects of it that just make me giggle. And I think I even went through this in the very first deck series thing that I did. And there are aspects about this that just bring me so much joy, right? Like that saying. However, there are some glaring issues. There's a functionality issue because I don't really read Marseille. It's just not my thing. I'm all about the story of the card, and I don't like to read it numerologically. I like to read it based on the depiction on the card. So while the major arcana and the core cards are like, give me life, the rest of the minor arcana is Marseille style. So it's just these different swords. And they do mean things in the way they're arranged and like all this other stuff. But in the functionality, that just doesn't work for me, right? The other thing is this deck, it's tiny, but it's not playing card stock. Like this, I'm holding half the deck. Oh, that hurts my wrist. It's so stiff that I can't even begin to, there we go, push it up to like riffle shuffle it. Like this is half the deck. I have to really bend my fingers, and there's no way that thing is bridging after. It's not cardboard, but you could never dream to do anything other than overhand shuffle it. And that was an expectation that I had when I had this deck. This isn't so much about this deck. Now I'm getting off topic. But as you see, right? It's cute. There's things I love about it. It's adorable. It's funny. It makes me smile. But it's not at the front of the cupboard, right? This is like in the middle of the cupboard. Like, it's got some glaring issues, and if I'm going to get rid of things in the cabinet, these are on the chopping block, right? These are on the chopping block. So, again, that one's up for adoption if you would like. The last category of coffee cups, and these are the coffee cups at the back, right? These are the ones in the back of the cupboard that you forgot you had, you never use. Like, only if all of the other dishes are dirty, you might use that. And even if all the other dishes were dirty, you might just wash one of your favorite cups and just not use that cup at all. And this can be for a variety of reasons, right? I'm going to use this one as an example. This was a beautiful gift from my sister. If you ever watch this please do not be upset. I love that you got me this mug, and I love the idea of this mug. However, here's why I can't use it. It isn't microwave safe. The way that I drink my coffee, it goes cold halfway through, and I have to heat it up again. And this mug, because of whatever it's made out of, this is not microwave safe right on the bottom. Whatever it's made out of, if you put this in the microwave, it gets too hot to touch, even if you put it in for like a few seconds. So, as a functional element, as a vessel for what it does, right? It works. It's a tool. It's a cup. It holds things. It works, right? There are aspects that I do love about it, but when I functionally use it, right? Because there's nothing wrong with it. You're like, well, it's not microwave safe, so just like don't microwave it, right? Like just deal with it. And yeah, it like doesn't feel right in my hand the way I hold my mug. It just doesn't. There's something about the way the handle's shaped. It doesn't work for me. So on paper, this is the perfect mug. It's black. It's got witch shit on it. It came from somebody who cares about me, etc., etc. But in functional working order for me, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work in the way that I need it to work in the season of my life that I'm in, how I'm using the tool, right? Because of my regular schedule, etc., etc. I think you see where I'm going with this, right? Decks. I just pulled this one randomly out of my band of decks to pass on. This deck is the Beautiful Creatures Tarot. There are things that I love about this deck. I friggin' love these edges. I enjoy in some scenarios that this deck has keywords on it. I think that that's cool. It gives a different perspective. I enjoy the bright colors. I'm not super like attached to this like big eye doll art style, but I love that the court cards are all their zodiac signs. So here, the King of Pentacles, you can see the Taurus symbol there. I think the guidebook is written really well. However, the packaging on this deck sucks. It sucks. And this isn't just about the packaging, but let's just run through the points, right? The packaging on this deck sucks. It's split up into 2 parts. I don't like that. Secondly, this deck has a friggin' attitude. This deck is an angsty teenager. And while there's nothing wrong with that, right? This deck works amazing. Bravery. It's like, well, maybe you don't have the guts, lady. That's just how this deck talks, right? What was I saying? So I don't really have a place where I need that. I have other tough love decks that I enjoy more. Even though I love some of the aspects about it, I just don't use it because I don't like how it's stored. I don't like how it shuffles. I don't like the art style doesn't speak to who I am. I like it, but I don't love it, right? And if I'm running out of space on my shelf, she is one of the first to go. Now, does that mean it didn't work for me? No, it worked for me. I had readings when this came into my life that I really needed. And that brings us to another category, which I didn't pull a coffee cup for, but they are the coffee cups that we've outgrown. They're coffee cups that we used to love. Maybe we used to use them all the time. Someone we used to be around old relationships, old friendships, right, might be attached to that. Whatever the reason, whether it's our old identities or just things we've outgrown, things we're tired of seeing, there can be a million reasons why we have come to a point where coffee cups or decks, that is something that you just no longer want to use. And one deck that's like this for me is the Elemental Tarot. And I'm about to get into the fun offers. So, because this is what I've decided to do with some of these decks. I lost my train of thought. Oh, anyway. So, I used to love this deck. I adored this deck. It's high quality. It feels amazing. Some of these cards are just like out of this world. And I just find myself not reaching for it anymore. It's just not who I am anymore. It's not where I'm at anymore. It's not the It's the scratch ticket. Excuse Leanne. It's the scratch ticket that I have already scratched. It was fun. It was amazing. I blew all of that money and I loved every friggin' second of it, right? We had a long history together. But at the end of the day, our fun is over. And it's time to move it on and let someone else enjoy it, to make room for more new things that I could love in the future, new decks that could speak to me, etc., right? Because again, talking about the coffee cup analogy, the cupboard is only so big, you guys. And if you're anything like me, that cupboard's pretty much always stuffed to the brim. And it's not until that cupboard overflows where you're like, all right, maybe I should look at the ones that I've shoved in the back. Maybe I should look at those ones that like, it's cool, but like it's got a chip in it, or the ones I've outgrown, or like, how can I recirculate the vessels that are no longer in perfect alignment with me and where I'm at, in order to make room for the exploration of the new and to let my decks be the exploration of the new for somebody else. Let me know if you like this analogy. I feel like I should have made this into a VR tag. So if you want to do a VR to this tag that I randomly like made up through this analogy, we'll do hashtag tarot as coffee cups. Why not? I think there's like a tarot coffee tag. So like, but this is like tarot coffee cups. I don't know. Anyway, I digress. Back to the scratch tickets. The decks that I have not scratched yet, I have a special box that I'm putting those decks into. They're either decks that I have not worked with a lot, decks that I feel like I felt really called to get at one point, but I haven't quite, that time to work with that deck hasn't come. Or, you know, maybe they're seasonal, right? We have seasonal coffee cups. So maybe your deck's seasonal. And even if it's not like seasonal in terms of like holidays, but like seasonal in terms of internal seasons, like, are you in a summer season or a winter season? Are you in a spring season or a fall season? And are those decks really speaking to you during those times, right? So I have one box that I've deemed as like my holding tank for those decks, and I will reevaluate when that time comes. And with that too, you know, there's decks that we only use for a certain purpose. Like I have a coffee mug that's ginormous. It holds like three of these, 3 or 4 of those cups. And I only use it on certain occasions with tea and not coffee. And like, you know, sometimes they're just special. So that's another way to look at that as well. Okay, so moving on finally. What am I doing with the decks that aren't going up on the website for sale? There are 3 things that are happening with these decks. One is, I already mentioned it in the beginning, I'm putting together a little box of some decks that I wouldn't want to split up and I think could provide some real value to people. And I want to gift them to someone. So I'm hosting a giveaway right now. All the details are down below. Giveaway ends June 15th, 11:59 p.m. EST. You have until then to enter. So all those details will be in the description box below if you want to win a mystery box of tarot and oracle cards from yours truly. And there might be a few witchy books in there as well. So there's that. Second, I have decided to offer tarot and oracle card readings via snail mail. So what that means is, if you would like, and they're on introductory sale too, I'll leave the details for this below. If you would like to receive a tarot card reading from me in the mail, I will go ahead and you can submit your intention or question or all that at purchase. And I will go ahead and pull 1 to 3 tarot or oracle cards for you that pertain to that message. And then I will channel and write out by hand your reading based on these cards and whatever psychic information I receive for you around your intention. And then I will put that in the good old post office box with a stamp on it and send it to you. And you can receive that in the mail. Why is this so cool? Now, first of all, it's cool for me to be able to share some of my favorite decks with you. But it's also cool because it allows for you to have a tangible card from your reading that you can then work with in the physical realm, right? What I mean by that is you can take the information from your reading and extend that into your everyday life using the card as your anchor of magic. This is the 4 of Wands. So let's say you didn't have a question, but you had an intention, and I pulled cards for you around that intention. That is an option. And when you get your cards, right, they match perfectly. You got a little message. You're like feeling the mojo, right? You can put this tarot card on your altar and meditate with it to gain more insight. You could write your intentions on a piece of paper, tape it to the back, use it as like a little magical seed. Again, put it on your altar, let that help you manifest. You could put it on the front of your planner, put it in the dashboard of your car, stick it on the mirror, put it on the wall above your bed, whatever you want to do to remind you of the message, of what you're working towards, whatever it was that you wanted to remember from the reading, right? You can use it as a witchy bookmark. I do that all the time. The sky's really the limit here, but it really takes the reading to a fun, tangible level and allows you to interact with it in a way that you can't really do when I just send you a video reading. Now, of course, due to the nature of the reading, right? When I do a reading online via video or one-to-one, we're spending 30 minutes to an hour digging into everything, right? Into all the stories, getting so much insight and wisdom, et cetera, et cetera. And that has its own magic. And this is a much more distilled down version, but it's potent and it's powerful. So those are right now available and for this foreseeable future. They're open to US and international. I'll leave the details down below if you want to do that. And for the rest of the month, they're on sale at like an introductory price. So snag you one of those. The final way that I'm using these decks, and I'm really excited about this, is in my new Moments of Me summer experience. Now, this experience is probably going to be closing pretty close to when this video comes out. This enrollment for this closes on June 15th. So if you are interested, don't sleep. But let me just talk a little bit about what this is. I'm going to do a whole separate video about moments of me, the concepts of it, the importance of it, why, like how the whole thing weaves together. But here's the digested down version and how this works into this tarot card thing. Cards are fucking fun. Cards are fun. Journaling is fun. Magic is fun. Summer is fun. Like, creating and manifesting the life you want is fun, right? And what I thought would be even more fun to put all of these things together is to go on an intentional experience together that's focused on presence in the moment and using our witchy magical tarot oracle card tools to manifest the life we desire and build the life legacy that we want, right? The story of our lives through weekly exercises with cards and journaling and all these fun things. So again, distilled down version, 10 weeks. Each week has a different theme. All the themes is centered around one intention that you get to set and send to me. When you send me that intention, I am going to pull cards for you to use in exercises each week for the 10 weeks. So if you sign up, you will get 10 envelopes. In each envelope will be a set of cards that I specifically pulled for your intention. Those will be sent out to you before the experience happens. When the experience happens for 10 weeks, each week has a different theme. There will be a video each week. We will open the envelopes together. I will share with you the wisdom, the theme of the teachings. We will talk about journaling prompts. We will talk about things that you can do to weave this concept into your everyday life. We'll talk about witchy shit, right? But we'll also have the tarot exercise or the oracle exercise where you will be using the tarot and oracle cards to understand, to strengthen your psychic abilities, to study the tarot in some fun ways, to help weave and understand this story so that when we come to the final week together, you can look back on your intention, on your journal, on your card work, on the little moments that we're going to document along the way, and really get a whole picture of the legacy of your life that you created for yourself through using your magic via these tools in this toolbox to manifest the life you wanted. And we're also going to look at how sometimes the universe has its own plan. We're going to touch all of it, right? It's not all sunshine and rainbows. There's other things that happen, but that's the idea of it. So if you want to join us, I'll leave all the information in the description below that you can check out. But I'm really excited to be able to share my decks with you in this way. There's decks up on the website, like I said, that you can adopt. Just take the deck home, use it, run with it. There's decks that you can win in the giveaway. There's decks where you're going to get card readings to use in your magic if you want a snail mail reading. And then on a on a grander scale, you can join us for that 10-week experience where I'm going to send you cards from multiple decks for that experience. Some of the decks that I've already pulled out for this experience, and depending on what cards you got, will depend on your intention and what I intuitively feel called to pull. So this isn't set in stone, but these are some of the decks that I've chosen. So this is the Edgar Allan Poe Tarot, which I love. It's a deck that just it was a non-reciprocated love. This deck has so many secrets, and the imagery is just like this is the magician. It's so good. I love the backs. If you're like dark spooky and gothic like me, you're gonna love that one. That's part of it. This one I felt called to pull in because of a few of the intentions that were already sent in by the lovely people that are already joining us for the challenge. This is the Dark Wood Tarot. I love this deck, but I pretty much only use the guidebook, so I thought, why not pass on again this like super witchy vibey imagery in this fun way. So that's part of that. This deck, which I've showed you like a million times now. And then I'm also putting some oracle decks in here. So one of the ones that I decided to include was the Healing Waters Oracle, and I did a whole video on this and why this deck wasn't really for me. However, I think that in a type of experience like this, I think especially for the summer theme and like the pleasure and the colors and like the mystical, magical mystery of it, being in flow, all these fun things, I think that this is going to be really fun to include in that experience as well. So those are just a look at a few of those decks that you could get in the Moments of Me or the snail mail reading. And that's all I have for you today, my loves. I'm going to go because I have more videos I need to film to tell you about all the things. But I hope that you found this helpful. Even if you're not interested in any of like the offers, you're not really looking for, you know, cards or anything like that. I hope that my talk about the analogy with the coffee cups and just sharing this lens that really helped me to solidify where I'm going with this was helpful for you. Oh, before I go, where is this series headed? So technically, I'm going to say that this is the last video in the Deck and Oracle Declutter series, because I'm not going to be sharing any more of this process for now, because I feel like I have it figured out, right? You saw I had to pull out decks as examples from these other categories, right, to show you. So I feel like I have that on lock. However, I do want to share more of my collection with you, which I think is why a lot of you wanted to see the process, because just like me, you also like hearing about different decks and people's experiences with them and seeing the cards, etc., etc. And if you've tuned into any of my in-depth kind of post-use reviews that I post, you know we go there. Like, we're honest, we're serious, we go there. We talk about all the things, right? So what I want to do moving forward is bring to you either a single deck that I want to review, or do deck reviews in the style of like I did, where I like compared two decks that weren't fair, or maybe I have a certain category of decks like decks for support on your spiritual awakening or something like that I want to share a group of really intentional decks and review them that way. That's how I'm seeing for the moment these kinds of sharing videos going. So if that sounds like something you want to see and you're not subscribed yet, please go ahead and do that. Also, let me know in the comments below. I love chatting with you. I love getting back to you in the comments. Sometimes it takes me a couple days or a week, but I try to get back to everyone, and I really do enjoy the interaction. I love hearing, even if your opinion is different than mine or you have something to add, or just community is so important, you guys. Don't let me just be talking into the void to myself. Okay? It's not fun. So, all that being said, thank you so much for being here, for spending your one most precious resource on this earth, your time, with me. It means the world does not go unnoticed. I can't wait to see you in any and all of the ways you wish to interact with everything I said. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, my loves. Bye.